So I had a discussion with this guy who basically said that he feels that only the original artist who creates a character or a setting should be able to use it. And, we agreed to disagree, but I just want to let other people realize how limited that would make our art. Because original myths and fairy tales like Cinderella were traded and rewritten over and over again. They are products of several artists using the same character because they borrowed it from the person who originally made it. And, you could trace back certain stories like Beauty and the Beast, but others are impossible to trace back to their original author of origin. And I don't think that people really understand how many characters are traded off from their original author. Look at comics. Comics, we have different authors doing different runs on different characters, and that's basically the entire industry. Anime and manga, too. We have different authors and different artists putting their own spin on characters that were not created by them. Video games, very, very common. The person who created a game is not necessarily the person who keeps continuing to develop the franchise. We wouldn't have Metroid Dread if this was the way things worked, because Mercury Stream is not the company that originally made Samus Aran and Metroid. We wouldn't have a lot of movies because they were interpreted from comics, like the MCU. Or many musical movies, which were interpreted from Broadway musicals, or even off-Broadway musicals. We wouldn't have some of our greatest works of fiction. A Study in Emerald won a Hugo, and that was basically Sherlock Holmes in the Lovecraft universe. We wouldn't have every single version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles past the original comic black and white version. We wouldn't have crossover games like Super Smash Bros. Wouldn't have recent blockbuster movies like Mad Max Fury Road. We never have Undertale because Toby Fox got his start doing Earthbound fan hacks. Would never have the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Wouldn't have any of the James Bond movies. Wouldn't have the Lord of the Rings movies. In fact, in our world of media, which is largely dependent on sequels, most of our media would be unavailable because it's made by people who weren't the original author. Heck, we wouldn't even have tabletop games because D&D isn't still being made by its original creator. And we wouldn't have a lot of modern-day music either because a lot of modern-day music uses samples from older music. You're talking about throwing out bardic tradition. Bardic tradition is something that has existed throughout almost all of human culture, and that is the ability to take someone's work and retell it yourself. We have been doing this for longer than recorded history, and we're still doing it now, although it requires a lot of different licenses and legal mumbo-jumbo. I just cannot fathom a world where every idea had to be original. The great thing about humanity and human creativity is the ability to take information that already exists, pass it down, and remix it. And I think preventing that would stifle creativity, not enhance it.